I really like the Pakistani community. I really enjoy spending time with you. I really appreciate the support that you've given me in the past, and I want you to know how important you are for the race going forward. This is I just met with my team this morning, and we were talking about the different groups that we need to focus on to get people out to vote that don't normally vote. Very few people vote in the primaries. The primaries on June 28th. It's been separated from the congressional primaries, which are now in August, because they cheated and they changed the maps. Now the courts have come in. But now the gubernatorial primary is on June 28th, but the congressional primaries are in August. So it's going to be even lower turnout than normal because everybody's going to be confused as to what's going on. So we talked about who are the communities that we need to focus on who have some affinity for our campaign that we can count on to help us with this race. Now, Long Island is very important because I'm the only candidate from Long Island. You know I'm going to fight for Long Island. It's very important that we get Long Island to go big for me. We have to get Westchester County, which is very similar to Long Island, about the issues. We want to get the Dominicans in the Latino community because my running mate is a Dominican woman, and when she's elected, she'll be the first statewide elected Latino in the history of New York State. But she's a Dominican, very important. The Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans are the biggest Latino community. I'm going to try and get the Italians, because I'm a first-generation American, to try and come to me. But of all those groups, one of the most important groups that I need to be passionate in this election, not just for contributions, but to actually volunteer and talk to your friends and convince Muslims, I've been saying Muslims all along, but I should say Muslims, to help me in this race. I need you to show up in big numbers, and I need the Pakistani Americans to really lead the way in that effort. Because very few Muslims vote in primaries. You want equality? You want to see America live up to its promise that all men and women are created equal? That everybody has a divine spark because of their creation by God? You want to live up to that? We need the Muslims to help deliver this election to Tom Suozzi, who will always fight for you. And you will. Now, you heard some very positive things about the polling. It is very positive. Her numbers are going down. My numbers are going up. But she's still way ahead. It's getting better every day. I talk about with her, she's got the 4 Bs. You know the 4 Bs? Brian Benjamin was the lieutenant governor that she picked. Her first decision. And he got arrested for bribery and corruption and had to resign. Number 2, the 4 Bs. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. She gave $1 billion to stop the Buffalo Bills from leaving New York State. No public hearings, no debate, no discussion. $1 billion to keep her friends at the Buffalo Bills, the most lucrative deal in the history of the NFL Football League. $1 billion. What is she giving to stop the people from moving? You talked about how people are leaving New York State. I'm sure everybody in this room knows somebody who's moved to Florida, or moved to North Carolina, or moved to South Carolina, or to Georgia, or Arizona, or is at least thinking of leaving because the taxes are too high, because the crime is growing in New York City. What is she doing to stop the people from leaving? She's stopping the Buffalo Bills from leaving with a secret deal. There was no debate whatsoever. But what are we doing to stop the people from leaving? So Brian Benjamin, the Buffalo Bills. Bail reform, which is the most important issue, but there's so many other issues related to crime. Crime is rising throughout New York State. 91% of New Yorkers say that crime is a serious or very serious problem. She's not even talking about it. Not even discussing it as a front of mind issue. It's an afterthought. She released a document 10 days before the budget was due and wouldn't even talk about it in public. This is a major, people are getting killed every day. You read about it in the newspapers, you see it on TV. Many of you are doctors in this room, you hear about it for your patients. People are afraid to take the subway. They're afraid to go into the city. The city will not recover if this crime problem continues. And fourth is the budget. We have the highest taxes in the United States of America. That's not just I feel that way, I'm complaining to my... No, it's documented, objective data. We have the highest state and local taxes in the United States of America. So when I talk about what's going on with her and why her numbers are going down, it's the 4 Bs. The Buffalo Bills, Brian Benjamin, bail reform, and the budget. So, but that's not enough. It's just that I think that she's doing a bad job. Or people, what about me? What do I have to offer? The things that I talk about all the time is that I've tried to demonstrate in the many years that I've been in public service. Okay, I'm trained as a CPA and attorney. I've worked in the private sector. If I was in the private sector, I'd be making as much money as Dr. Ijaz is making. But I've been in public service a long time. And I have a heart for the people. I want to serve the people. That's why I do this. I want to make the world a better place to live in. But with that, I have the skills to get the job done. Trained as a CPA and attorney, a mayor for 8 years, county executive for 8 years, Congress for 5.5 years. I know how to make government work. I know how to get things done, to solve problems, to lower crime, to make things more efficient, to uplift people, to help people. I know how to do it. I've got the skills to do it. Government is very difficult. It's much too big. It's terribly inefficient. People say, make it more like a business. It's not like a business. It's big. It's bigger than any Fortune 500 company. New York State's $220 billion enterprise. That's bigger than any Fortune 500 company. $220 billion every year. But you have to add to it politics and the press and your opponents trying to cut your legs off every day. You have to add the unions and the civil service rules and all the things that go into making government work that's spread out. And there are that was the Republicans.
For sure.
And there are so many people trying to undermine you. And unlike the private sector, you can't give bonuses to your good employees. You have a great employee who comes to work every morning early, stays late, has great ideas, is on budget, answers the phone politely and tries to serve people. Oh, how may I help you? Very good, efficient job. You can't give them a bonus. If you give them a bonus, they say, Suozzi gave money to his friend. If somebody walks up to you in the hallway and says, hey, mayor, you're terrible. You're the worst mayor we ever had. You stink. I would never vote for you. I think you're terrible. I'll never vote for you. If you fire that person, you get a lawsuit for political discrimination. You think it's easy to run government? No. You think it's easy to get things done in this big, huge, vast enterprise with no profit motive, no bonuses, hard to discipline? Press, politics, unions, civil service rules, your opponents every day trying to find out what you did wrong every day. It's tough.
Very tough.
But I've learned how to deal with this business of how to get things done, to fight for the people. Not for the people that are the insiders that just want something from you. How did Kathy Hochul raise so much money in such a short period of time? Because people said, I'm so inspired by Brian Benjamin. I'm so inspired by the Buffalo Bills deal. I'm happy you're not dealing with crime. I'm happy you're not dealing with the taxes. How did she raise so much money? Everybody who does business with the state, who wants something from the state, gave her money. Whether it was somebody trying to get a cannabis license, or a nursing home, or a big developer, a lobbyist. She went to every lobbyist. This is common knowledge in Albany. Every lobbyist said, you have to raise $250,000 for my campaign, to every lobbyist. You wonder why New York State has been declared the most corrupt state in the United States of America by the Washington Post last August. Think about it. Cuomo got in trouble. Patterson got in trouble. Spitzer got in trouble. Eric Schneiderman got in trouble. Alan Hevesy got in trouble. Shelley Silver, Joe Bruno, Dean Skelos, a dozen of other people. A brand new lieutenant governor got arrested for bribery and corruption within 8 months. It's the most corrupt state in the country. Why? Why? Because it's not accountable. There's no competition. I know from my experience that if you don't have a competitive race, then you don't listen to the people. You don't listen to what the people say. What do the people say they want? I do polls, I do telephone town halls, I talk to people all the time. What do they say? Fix the crime. Lower the taxes. We can't afford to live here. Our children don't want to stay here. They want to move away. That's what the people talk about. When I say, I'm a Democrat, right? I'm a Democrat my whole life. They say, Tom, you're talking about crime and taxes. Those are Republican issues. No, they're not. Crime and taxes are what are affecting everybody's life right now. I talk to people every single day. I've talked to hundreds of thousands of people. I hear the same things. We're scared to take the subway. I don't want my daughter working in the city anymore. I can't afford, I retired from my job and I can't pay my utility bills. I can't pay my property taxes. It's too hard for me I can't open a business. I'm going to move my business somewhere else. I hear it every day. So why aren't the other politicians listening? Because they're not scared the people are going to vote them out. So we have to vote them out. Because if we vote them out, then they'll have somebody who's fighting for the people, who's looking out for what the people care about. Don't underestimate. You think this is just another fundraiser? This is not just another fundraiser. This is not just the same thing. Dr. Ijaz has so many of these parties, okay? Done so many, helped so many candidates at different times. He's organized big thing for people running for president, people running for senator, people running for this and that and the other thing. This is the most important fundraiser you're doing because you're not here to back the winner. You're here to make me the winner. Make me the winner so that I'll fight for you and for your families and for the things that you care about. Because I'm the only one in the Democratic Party that you're going to hear talk about crime. I'm the only one you're going to hear talk about lowering the taxes and trying to make it more affordable here in New York State. I'm the only one you're going to hear about trying to create economic development. I'm the only one you're going to hear about these kids that have been left behind for generations in our schools. Now listen, your kids all go to good schools. I'm sure of it, okay? Let's talk, who talked about the most educated group? Who is Dr. Iqbal. The most educated group, okay? Wonderful, fantastic. We have the best school districts in the United States of America on Long Island. In Syosset, and Jericho, and Great Neck, and Manhasset, Powassan. We have great schools, okay? East Meadow's a great school too. But think about Hempstead School District and the Freeport School District or the Roosevelt School District or Brentwood or Wyandanch. These kids have been left behind for a generation, more than a generation. They have no shot to make it in this country. They have no opportunity whatsoever. 75% of the people in jail have a drug, alcohol, or mental health problem. 50% of the people at Rikers Island in New York City, the jail in New York City, have a learning disability. These kids who get left behind in schools have no shot to contribute to our society. You look at the dysfunction of any society in the world, certainly here in the country, whether it's crime, poverty, homelessness, domestic violence, any kind of societal dysfunction, go back to how they were treated in school and how they couldn't go back to their family, but then if we can't solve it in the school, they don't have a shot. And I have ideas as to how to address these problems, not by spending more money. We already have the highest taxes in the United States of America. We already spend more per student than any state in the United States of America, but our results are no better than anywhere else. Why? What's going on here? Because when you're in a good school district, 10% of the kids have a problem. 10% of the kids, they probably got a family at home, they have private health insurance. In the school, they have a school psychologist, a school guidance counselor, a school social worker. In the at-risk school district, 70% of the kids have a problem. Their family, you can't necessarily count on. They don't have private health insurance, and they only have the same thing: one school psychologist, one guidance counselor, one social worker. Those kids can't make it. The teachers can't possibly deal with the volume of problems. We don't have more money. We don't want to raise more taxes. We don't need more programs. We have to take the existing programs that are out there. We spend billions of dollars from the federal government, the state government, the local government, not-for-profits. We need to bring them into our schools to help our children at a young age, so that they, when they're little problems in life, don't become bigger problems later on. Very hard to do, but it's a key thing to addressing the crime problem for the long term. We have to do short-term intervention, but we have to do long-term prevention.
That's a very good idea.
So crime, taxes and affordability, helping our kids in our troubled school, corruption. Okay, that's all the big picture stuff. Suozzi, proven executive, common sense Democrat. I'm not going to pander to the left. I'm so sick of the far left. I'm so sick of the crazy right. We need people to work together to help the people. We'll try and find how to solve problems to help people. So proven executive, common sense Democrat, and the issues: crime, taxes, schools, affordability. Now let's talk about the Muslims. You are great Americans. You are people that have adopted the philosophy of this country, that you believe in the ideas of this country. That's all it takes. You can't move to Paris and become a Frenchman. You can't move to Rome and become Italian. You can't go to Munich and become a German. You can't go up to Montreal and become a Canadian. The only place in the world you can move to is the United States of America and become an American.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is to help us live up to the dream of this country. The dream that all men and women are created equal. We've done a pretty good job, but not nearly 100%. You wouldn't be happy with your grades in school, the grades this country would receive on it. Think of how the blacks have been treated since day one. Think of the people that came throughout our history that were discriminated, including the Italians. My father was born in Italy. If you were an Italian in the 1930s and 40s, 50s in this country, my father went to Harvard Law School. He couldn't get a job at a law firm because the Italians had teamed up with the Germans during World War II, and they said, you're either in the mafia or you're a fascist. We're not going to hire you at a law firm. It's hard for you to imagine that now, but that's how Italians were treated in America. We know about discrimination in our country and what you're feeling, many of you, now. We can fix that. We can make it better. That's why we have to, as we see growing Muslims in our country, we have to celebrate Eid here in New York State so that people have off. How can it be that you go for Eid and you go pray and then you got to go to work that day instead of going to your family party? It just doesn't seem right. How can it be that you're going to school in New York City or in different school districts out here where 10, 20, 30% of the kids are Muslims and you can't get access to halal food at school? It doesn't seem right. So, as governor, I'll not only fight for your equality, I'll fight to make sure that your holidays are recognized and to make sure that you get halal food in the school district. But I really need your help. I need the people that are here tonight to write a check to my campaign. I got a big deadline on Monday. It's very important. I need you to write a check for my campaign because everybody says, my polling shows it, my conversations show it, if we hear Suozzi's message and we hear Kathy Hochul's message, Suozzi wins. The problem is not everybody's hearing my message because I don't have enough money to do the TV commercials and the mailing and the people in the field to get the message out there. So I need the money so I can do the commercials, so I can do the mailings, so I can do the digital advertising to try and win the race. Number two, I need you to get into this. I need you to really get excited, to think about how you can talk to your friends and your neighbors and what mailing lists you have of your patients, of your co-workers, of the people that you know, and use the list that we have. Okay, I've got two high-profile Muslims on my campaign. One is Farah Mosawala, who's doing ethnic outreach for all ethnicities, not just Muslim, but for all ethnicities. And number two is Muhammad Ali, who worked on my campaign when he was 19 years old, when I ran for county executive in Nassau County. I haven't told you this story. Have I told you the story?
No.
Muhammad Ali came to my office in Glen Cove about a month and a half ago. He said, Tom, I went on to go to medical school, and I got a master's degree in health administration. I'm working for a private equity firm in Texas. I'm married, I have 3 children, and we have a great life in Texas. He said, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm asking my wife if it's okay if I leave her. I'm gonna come volunteer in your campaign for the last 50 days of your campaign. I said, wow. I said, Muhammad, I said, I'm so grateful. And he's an information technology expert. He's doing machine learning and artificial intelligence. He's getting people to help him with it. I said, Muhammad, I'm so grateful to you. I really appreciate that. I said, why are you doing that? Why are you upending your life like that to come help me with my campaign? He said, when you ran for county executive and you had a Democratic primary, your race was canceled on September 11th of 2001. You came back to the campaign a couple days later. You made a speech to all the staff about how we're going to move forward. We're going to win this race. This is an important time in history. We have to show we have a democracy in our country. We need to work together and win this campaign. And then you came over to me in front of everybody, and you said to me, if anybody gives you a hard time, I've got your back. He said, I'll always have your back, and I'm going to help you win this campaign because I know you're going to look out for my people. That's what I need from the people in this room. I need your heart and soul to help win this campaign because I'm giving up Congress. I could stay in Congress the rest of my life if I wanted to.
True.
And it's a great honor and it's a great responsibility to be in Congress, a very difficult time in our history. But I'm giving it up because I'm sick and tired of everybody fighting with each other instead of getting the job done. I'm sick and tired of everybody leaving New York State because nobody's addressing the issues that the people care about. And I'm sick and tired of my party, the Democratic Party, moving more and more to the left instead of talking about the issues that the people care about. So I have one very simple question to everybody in this room. Are you with me in this race?
Yes.
Will you help me in this race? I need you in this race. We will win this race. And you'll win it to fight for the people, to fight for your children and your families so that you'll want to stay in New York. And New York State should be the greatest state in the country. It has everything going for it except for the lack of affordability and the crime that is growing. We could be the best possible place. And to put it in perspective, I was born in 1962. I'm going to be 60 years old in August. When I was born, there were 45 members of Congress from New York State based upon our relative population to the rest of the country. Now we've gone from 45 seats down to 27 seats, and it's going down to 26 seats in January because we're losing relative population to the rest of the country. Everybody, as I said, is going to Florida and Texas and North Carolina and South Carolina. We have to reverse that trend. And you have so much power. You have so much power. There are 500,000 registered Muslim Democrats in downstate New York. 500,000. You know how many normally vote? 50,000. Maybe 75 in a presidential year, in a primary. You can make but don't feel bad like you're doing something wrong. Only 10% of the people vote to 15% of the people vote in the Democratic primary anyway. There's only going to be, in the last big gubernatorial race in the primary, there were 1.4 million people voted. because of this bifurcation where the Congress is here and the gubernatorial race is here, we think it's only going to be 1 million people this time. You realize what a difference 100,000 votes could make in this race? It would radically change the outcome of this election. Don't think this is just another fundraiser. This is just another event. This is the group, the community, that can make a dramatic difference in this race. And I want you to know that my grandmother always had a very good saying that I will never forget. You know what my grandmother said? You like a me, I like a you. So, so please help me in this race. It's so important that you write a check. It's so important that you talk to your friends. It's so important that you help us to spread the word. On Saturday, I'll be in Queens. I'm going to spend the whole day in Queens on Saturday. How many of you how many of you are from Queens? Anybody from Queens in the room? Okay. How many have friends in Queens? Everybody, right? Okay. Richmond Hill, Jackson Heights. I'm going to be doing a bunch of events in Queens, all over Queens, from Astoria and Long Island City, out to Left Rack City, to Richmond Hill, down to Jamaica, back up to Jackson Heights. We're going to be doing a rally at 6 o'clock at Diversity Plaza. 5:30. 5:30. That's Farah Mazawala. At 5:30 at Diversity Plaza. Okay? Who's heard of Diversity Plaza? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, what? Not everybody. Do you know the address?
I can text it. It's right. It's
Kebab-
right in the main
Kebab
area.
King.
Kebab King. Kebab King.
Right, Kebab King.
Yeah. 74th Street.
What is it?
74th Street, Jackson Heights.
74th Street in Jackson Heights. Just see if you can look it up, Farah. Farah.
Near Kebab King.
Yeah, but see if you can look. Farah, see if you can look up the address.
Yeah, 74 and Broadway.
74th and Broadway.
74 Broadway.
5:30 on Saturday. I want to have a huge turnout, not just from the Muslims, but from all the different communities. So,
I think we all will be there.
well, it would be nice. So let me stop talking. Let me just say that I really appreciate this very much. Dr. Iqbal, Dr. Saab, appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you for being here. And let me take any, you're dying to ask a question. What did you want to ask?
73rd and 19th Street.
73rd and 19th Street. Okay, I'm going to sit down while you ask.
Are you going to have a debate with
Yes, 2 debates.
When is that? What are the dates?
June 7th and June 16th. We wanted 6 debates. You'll only do 2 debates.